Welcome to Kerryn Vlogs here at KezaWellness, The Simple Fix. So welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, thank you so much for joining. Every week I sit myself down to do a live vlog. Well, it's not live. I obviously do have a little bit of editing happening, but I try and make it as unfiltered as possible. Now, this is actually my first ever video. So if you're tuning in for the first time, then that's fantastic. And just know that there'll probably be a load of rambling because not even I know what I'm doing. All I know is that I really have wanted to start a YouTube channel for a very long time. And a year ago, I was in this exact same position and I was like, I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it. And I basically did a few. I did like the first couple and then it just got away from me, right? And I think that's something that many of us feel when we start something new. Either we're looking for a sense of immediate, almost like success or validation from it, or just like real life gets in the way. If you're starting something new and it's not exactly making you money from the get-go, then whatever your real job is that is making you money can quite possibly get in the way. And it can just feel a little bit, a little bit indulgent to be spending your time on something that's not actually paying your bills. Especially if that something is something that you don't know could go somewhere, okay? So that's exactly what has stopped me for the past, I'd say about a year and a half. But a year ago, I definitely sat down telling myself I would do it properly. I've been in a little bit of like decision paralysis about a few things. So my name is Kerryn and I am a PT and fitness coach in London. And I started an online coaching business 2.5 years ago. And this is not one of those videos where I tell you that I now make 6 figures from my living room because it didn't work. It didn't work in the form that I launched it to. It didn't work in the time frame that I had. And I've tried to get myself out of the habit of saying that it failed because I don't want to believe that it failed because that's just depressing. I want to believe that this version of it is not the version it needs to be. So whilst launching that, I kept doing my one-to-ones in person. I focus mostly on rehabilitation. That's where my skill set is. I have a very good understanding of biomechanics and I mix mediums quite easily. So I'm a Pilates instructor and I'm a strength coach as well, strength PT. I've done a massage therapy course and I am quite a keen mover myself, but not an easy mover. So there's a lot that I've had to figure out within my own body and patterns just make sense to me. So when someone's having a little bit of pain, I can quite easily, not necessarily pinpoint exactly what it is, but I can definitely help find relief, and muscle patternings, they just make sense to me. So that's my calling. That's what I really enjoy doing, I must say. Out of all the aspects of the job, that's what I enjoy, is communicating with people, teaching them about their bodies and helping them walk away from a session with a better understanding than previously. So I moved to London 7 years ago now, and I started working as a reformer Pilates instructor at what we would call like a chain studio. And it was a 40-hour contract, and I taught close to 32 hours of class a week. And then I did a few one-to-ones, and there was this bonus scheme in place to get you to do one-to-ones even if it wasn't within your shift time. And it was a really tough first year for me. I'd moved to London from South Africa. If anyone watching this has immigrated, you'll know like it's really tough. There's things that creep up on you, and you're alone. Now I have a steady partner. I have family that have moved over here. I am in a much, much better position. I have a community. I have loads of people that I can talk to and turn to. But in the beginning, I really didn't. And I was young. I was one of the youngest people at my job. And if you've ever been the youngest person at a job, you know what kind of pressure that brings with. And I just remember basically like working myself to death. I also was not earning nearly enough to live anywhere near comfortable life in London. So I worked a lot. My health went straight out the window. I had always struggled with keeping my weight down, managing my weight, especially when I got stressed. I had quite severe hormone fluctuations, so that first year was pretty horrific. And I remember going back to South Africa in October of the first year that I moved, and a bunch of my friends had all got performing contracts, and they were, you know, their futures were looking really fucking cool at this point. And I just remember thinking, have I made a massive mistake? And thankfully at the time I had quite a good girlfriend who, she basically said to me, look, you know, right now their life looks a bit better, but that's just the immediate and you're here for a longer term. And that really helped me just sort of sit in the space that I was in. Anyway, so through the pandemic, I started teaching some classes online just for free, and I really got sort of like my spunk for teaching back. And then from there, I just kind of grew into my first one-to-one business, which was called KezaWellness. And it was one-to-ones, most of them in person, some of them virtually. I would cycle. I lived in Southwest London, and I would cycle wherever. I was cycling from Clapham to Chiswick. I was going down to Kingston. I was going to Surbiton. I was going up to Hackney. I was all over the place. Wherever the work was, I was going. And then when London started coming out of sort of the lockdown, I was offered my job back. I was first actually put on a possible redundancy list, which would have been quite a good thing for me considering I was bound to a training contract with them. And I was then not made redundant. I'd gone through the steps because I think they thought I was going to be. And then their legislation changed and gyms were allowed to open, etc. So all of a sudden I was pulled back into work. They changed my shifts around. It didn't work with what I was already doing. And at that point I was just like, I'm not going back to that. So at this stage, I had acquired 2 more qualifications. So I'd done my personal trainers as well as my sports massage, and I had a small base of clientele. I've always got my clients through word of mouth, through people passing me on. And what happened a lot in the beginning is when someone knew that they were going to leave me, they were, you know, quite keen to find 3 other people to refer me to, which was lovely. I was really lucky in business in those first few formative years. I then got a really great learning opportunity, learning and working. So basically I worked for a clinic in Chelsea, which put me through a qualification that I could never have afforded at the time, which was fantastic. And I worked and did my qualification in that year, 2021, again for my own health, for my own sanity. Was probably one of the worst years. However, it did give me qualifications and learning experience that have since really elevated my life. So it just shows you sometimes you don't know what the storm is building, right? It was a horrific, horrific time. When I look back now, I don't even recognize myself, to be honest. And it really did go somewhere. Now, where we are right now is a really good position. I never want to make it sound like I'm not in a good position. But I am, of course, like most of us out there, not where I would hope and like to be. And I've spent the last few years sort of sailing through a few things or fighting through a few things. And I quickly realized that the sort of one-to-one model of me needing to be there in person all the time was not something I wanted to be doing 10 years from now. So scaling, you kind of had a few options, right? So you can either start organizing, managing a bigger client list, organizing other trainers to go and see these clients and taking a cut. Or of course you can try and move into the online space. Now, because of the way I work and because it's very personal and rehab focused and specific and very hands-on, I wasn't sure how to move into the online space. And to be honest with you, I don't think I was confident enough to just become like an online PT. I didn't have the social media following. I still don't have the aesthetic. I didn't have the confidence to put my aesthetic online as, like a fat fit PT, because that didn't feel like I was being honest. I didn't want to go online and say, oh, I'm super happy with how I look and I can move, blah, 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 because I wasn't super happy with how I looked. I wasn't super happy with my dedication to myself, because my dedication was to my work and earning money. I was not dedicated to looking after myself. So that really blocked me from kind of jumping into that trend. And I mean, look, I guess we all get we just get held back, right? By our own minds going over and over again and whatever. So I then decided that I wanted to explore something within what I saw people really needed and what I thought people really needed. And so I got myself a little business loan and I created KezaWellness. Now, KezaWellness was launched as a subscription platform. And the idea was that it was not one of these apps that sort of plagued you or gave you reminders or anything. It was a space where you could find what you were looking for. So 5 minutes for shoulder pain sitting down, 10 minutes for hip pain standing up. And I filmed this massive array of content that's actually still really good. It's great content, I must say. And I put together these video libraries, and I had someone helping me with the digital stuff, and I had someone assisting me with all the ins and outs, and we did corporate pitches, and I went to meeting upon meeting upon meeting, social gatherings, networkings. I cold emailed and called, companies, individuals, and the whole idea was that this could be such a good employee support offering. And the months rolled by, and I think the max subscribers that I ever got to was 11. And within that 11, myself, my boyfriend, my mom, and 2 other of really close friends / family members were of the 11. So it wasn't really 11 subscribers. It was never really out of the nest, let's say. So we kept going, and at this point you're trying everything. Everyone's got advice for you. We're trying organic marketing. We're trying a bit of paid marketing, but now we're running out of budget. We're trying YouTube, but not really, because we don't want to give away too much on YouTube, and we also don't want to fall into the trouble of having a massive YouTube following, but then not being able to monetize it. Silly. And we now don't have any filming budget, so now the filming quality is going backwards and backwards and backwards. I've gone from being in a full production studio to being in my bedroom, and things are just literally unraveling. And we're not getting, I'm just not seeing any of the momentum. So, even something like, I did a live event for over 8,000 people, and everyone got a free video from that. I led a warm up for a running event, and everyone in their results email for that running event got a link to a running recovery video of mine, and we did not get a single click. So just imagine 10,000 emails landing, not a single click. Okay, so when I say I know what it's like to really try everything and just see absolutely no return, I really do mean it. So now we get to the end of, I think from launching the site to when the loan needed to start being repaid was about 20 months, I'd guess. 18 to 20 months. So now we reach where the loan is due, and obviously this is my worst nightmare. I had to let go of my team, of course, and I had to go back to the drawing board in terms of I had to go back to making enough money now, not just to sort of keep myself alive and sustain my life, but also now pay this loan back, because the business essentially just wasn't even breaking even, not even a little bit. So that was the beginning of last year, and last year is actually when I decided I wanted to sit down and document this part of the journey, because me, like many other people out there, I love listening to people's stories, right? It's always so inspiring, and we see a lot of ourselves in it, and that's what's great. And I've said to myself for the longest time, what would I want to remember? What are the key moments that I want to look back and be like, fuck, do you remember when you were there? And I also struggle to find this kind of content. I struggle to find the in the nitty gritty, because what you're seeing a lot of online is I was here and now I'm here, and this was the magic solution. Email marketing and create a sales funnel or build and sell a course. just do these things and then you're here. So it was basically like all we're really getting access to online is like, here's a problem, there's this really simple solution that you're so silly for not even trying yet, and here's where you'll end up. Now, I've tried every single one of those silly solutions like from the get-go, and I still haven't made it. So there's definitely a space that's not really being sort of spoken about, and inviting people into. So that's what I really wanted to do with sort of like my personal YouTube. I was like, I'm gonna have a personal YouTube where I go through all of this, and then I'm gonna have KezaWellness YouTube, and we're gonna build that up, and it's gonna be all movement things and whatever. And as last year went, I also, by the way, just a quick tangent, I'm a massive like vision board journaler kind of thing. And at the beginning of last year, I did this thing called a vision book, which I will open and finish because I definitely have achieved some things in that book, which I think is epic, but definitely not all of them. And I had these big dreams. I always have big dreams. I constantly have big dreams. I'm the queen of a rebrand as well. And one of it was that I was just gonna do like this, just like a casual vlog once a week, just to get into the practice, just to have the footage, yada, yada, yada. And I think I did max 3, and that was it. So the other thing I had for last year, at the beginning of the year, in my vision book, my slogan for 2025 was do less, be more. Which is hilarious because last year was probably the most doing year of my life. We bought a home and we built an extension, so we were DIYing 24/7 because of the expense of the house, as well as the fact that KezaWellness was now stagnant and essentially bleeding. I had to work even more. So now we're at like a 6.5 to 7 day week, and as many PTs or people in the service industry altogether will know, your day is not a 9 to 5. Your day is a 6:30 a.m. to a 9 p.m. And I am not complaining because I'm really thankful to have had the work, and I'm still thankful to have a client base who I can sort of rely on and have great relationships with, and it's not like my job sucks. I love what I do, so that makes it easier. However, of course, there was a hell of a lot of tension, strain, pressure throughout 2025. It was definitely not the do less, be more that I had envisioned. Anyway, moving into 2026. So I'm recording this on the 27th of January, 2026, and I made a conscious decision to move into January really slowly this year. So no vision boards, no mega lists, just arrive in it, see how the hell it goes, and then take it from there. So one of the things I've spent this month doing, I've had quite a busy month work-wise, which is fantastic, but I've really just spent it mulling over a few things. And I've basically said to myself, if I spend the next 12 months dedicating myself to XYZ and it doesn't work, okay, i.e. it doesn't lead to whatever the next step is, it doesn't generate the income I'm looking for, it doesn't put me in the position I'm looking for, will I still be happy with what I have done or what I have to show for those 12 months? Because for the last 6 months of 2025, I would say that I focused a lot on trying to basically just get big on Instagram, right? Which is another thing that people talk about and throw around like it's so easy, and for fuck's sakes, I don't know if Instagram personally hates me, but I have been consistent, I have been trending, I have been out the box. I haven't been trending, I've been using trending things, I've been out the box, I've had people help me with it, and I've got 3,700 followers, and I've had 3,000 something followers since 4 years ago. So, I came to the conclusion as well towards the end of last year in doing all of this that actually not much of the stuff I was creating for Instagram meant anything to me other than sometimes the parody stuff is funny and whatever, it's a joke I can get behind. But other than that, it's not something I'd use or repurpose. And so I just kept going round and round, back and back to YouTube. Now, throughout this time, I have had a YouTube for KezaWellness. So KezaWellness is a simple fix. And then I did this whole thing that I got stuck on for months about, do I do like my own channel as Kerryn for this kind of content, and then keep like the Simple Fix separate? And why am I getting stuck on stupid details? So throughout the month of January, I've basically been preparing myself for my 12 months. I'm actually, let me not lie, I'm working in 6 months. For my 6 months of consistent posting to this YouTube channel. Now, I don't have a crazy editing idea in mind at all. Some of them will be a little bit more edited than others. I am working with someone, but those will be more my movement style videos because they'll require a little bit more editing. I want these to stay pretty raw. I don't want to be getting stressed about them. I think if I put too much pressure on getting them done, looking a certain way, X, Y, Z, then it's just going to be another barrier, right? So I want to break down the barriers, and even if this just ends up being like a video diary for myself that I rewatch in 6 months' time and try and learn from, then that's fine. But I hope that it'll be something that, you know, you might find as a viewer and think, wow, yeah, that's exactly where I am. And it's my intention to take you through step by step what I try, what works, what doesn't, and share it, because I do feel like this is like the nitty gritty. This is the process, and these are the bits that like no one's really talking about, okay? Everyone likes to talk about the plan that worked, you know, and give you the step by step that worked, but no one's really popping out and saying, hey, well, yeah, I executed that plan and it still didn't land me where it needs to. I never wanted to sound like I am bitter. I'm not at all. I think that every step of the way has taught me something new and brought me something new, and that's fantastic. And if anything, it's also helped me gain a bit of clarity on what I ultimately want things to look like, and not just work-wise, but like as a whole. I definitely feel a lot more committed to myself this year in terms of looking after my own health, making time for myself, and also making time for things, not knowing what the outcome will be. So just like this, you know, not knowing whether this video is ever going to mean anything or not, but I know that I wanted to make it, so I did. So I am. And I intend to make one every week, and for it to just be kind of like a bit of a catch up. So today's Tuesday, and I got home at about 1:30, and I really wanted to get a bunch of stuff done, and instead I ate and then took like a nap on the couch. I just had no energy, no will to get up at all. And then I decided if I just get one thing done, it's got to be this intro video. It's got to be this first video. I've just got to start. So on the KezaWellness channel, you will find many things. You're going to find a more personal segment. It'll be in a playlist that is just about me. These trailings, these thoughts. And then you're going to find loads of movement, exercise, Pilates, strength training, tips, tricks, advice, educational stuff. I am also an instructor mentor as well, so that is something that I'm super passionate about, and there's loads more to come in that field as well. So I trust that this YouTube channel will be a space where you can find many things, and I hope that you do, and I hope that you find something for you. There will also be a podcast weekly as well, which is not much different to me just sitting and talking to the camera at my kitchen island, but it is a little bit more thought out and a little bit more along the lines of helping you find simple fixes within your day-to-day. So that is that. If you're still here, that's amazing. Please like and subscribe. And if you feel like you're in the process of processing, then stay with me, stay in the space. Let's get through it together, and let's see what dedicating to the YouTube channel and focusing on creating only the content that I'd be proud to have, even if it doesn't bring me success. Let's see how it goes. Because I cannot spend another year creating things for the sake of hoping that they work. I need to create things that I feel good about, that I'm happy to do, that I feel called to do. I feel called to share my journey a lot. I've literally been called a chatterbox since I was like 3, and that's fine. Sometimes I just feel like in an age where we're so connected, we are always looking for something that actually sounds like our scenario and not sounds like a fabricated version of it. So hopefully this will be that space for you. If you're interested in Pilates, pain-free movement, strength training, this is also the place for you. This is not some fitness fanatic site where I'm going to shame you for drinking hot chocolate. Like, I am just a soon-to-be 30-year-old who is trying to create a bigger business for myself, a better future for myself and my loved ones, and also share my craft responsibly and effectively. Okay, that's all from me today. I will hopefully see you in the next episode. Make sure to follow along. Thank you so much for being here.